Our next case, we have a country in which the growth rate increased in 2005, but has subsequently had a steady decline. So you're seeing a growth rate starting to decline, starting to slow down. Birth rates are key to that. So the birth rates are still high. 26 is a very, very high number, but you're starting to see things slow down. Nonetheless, when we look at birth rates and once again compare it to death rates, 26 versus 7, huge growth, huge difference. And so this is going to be a fast-growing country. It's growing naturally, although that growth is starting to slow down. We can see the decline in the birth rate, also the decline in the fertility rate, and also the decline in the growth rate. We go down to the bottom, we can see in terms of net migration that, it does kind of have this, it doesn't have a lot of out migration, but a -0 in 2015 means that it is having people leave the particular country. So I would argue that this presents itself as a good example of a late stage 2 country, a country in which it's growing quite fast, still has very high growth rates. However, things are starting to potentially stabilize. You're starting to see a slowdown in growth, and so maybe this country is starting to head towards stage 3. So this country would be Kenya. And so with Kenya, we can see a triangular base, but you can see at the bottom, look at the 0 to 4 age group. You can see how it's starting to come inward. And so potentially, is there population stability here? Is the population structure going to become more of a stage 3 country here in Kenya? Are we seeing increasing rates of urbanization in Kenya, which is then going to slow down the population growth? Potentially, we are. We're starting to see that. So some of the things in this particular pyramid that if this was your country that you'd be asked to you'd probably want to identify and analyze is, first off, that 10 to 14 age group. Why all of a sudden do we see a huge increase there? So something happened in Kenya about 10 to 15 years ago. Further, what's causing the changes now? So that's something you do at the bottom, is try to explain why are we seeing population stability. Also, and talking about the gender and sex differences. And so gender, we see really no differences really anywhere on this particular population pyramid. It actually looks like you might see fewer females in the 25 to 50 age group. It looks like the pink bars aren't as far away from the middle as the blue lines, which look like they're a little bit farther. So what that means is probably something happened there to the females, particularly there in the reproductive years. And that could be any time in the last 15 to 20 years. And just to give you a heads up, that's at the role of AIDS. So what's going on here? We see some population stability, but like many African countries, you do not see, especially sub-Saharan Africa, you don't see large sex ratio differences. And you can really see that at the bottom. See how at the 0 to 4 age group, it's almost identical as far as the rates of males versus females.